What's up, guys? That really
A
gross
lone
guy
Tenno
here,
operative is raiding
and we're back.
for supplies.
We
You are here
back.
to distract the
All right,
enemy.
Lotus.
Trigger the
Oh,
alarm.
great! This is gonna be survival mode again. So,
Okay,
Steel
Tenno,
Meridian. There you
a lot of
go.
people
And
are
then we're gonna
depending
jump in
on you
here.
to
Then it's
get
gonna be
this
Lotus,
done.
and then Lotus again, and then Lotus again. All right.
They've turned
Lotus,
off critical life
thank
support
you.
systems. I suspected they might try this.
Yep. And then
Stand by for
tell me
support.
all about that life support, Lotus. Tell me all
Life
about.
support capsule
Yep.
has arrived.
Okay, first life support
Activate it when your
arrived.
supply is low.
Awesome. Gotcha. Cool. You good, Lotus?
Look for personal
Nope.
support modules dropped by
Okay.
fallen enemies.
See, told you. 3 Lotuses back to 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 back. Alright. So today I wanted to talk about the topics we didn't cover about DevStream 106. And that is number 1, the trials or the raids going away. The raids. Now I haven't been doing the raids. I haven't done a raid so far. I've always kind of wanted to, but getting a party together, everyone talks about how frustrating it is to get a party together that knows what they're doing. While it is would be my first time doing a raid, I have watched plenty of people do raids, whether it be on Twitch or on YouTube already.
Life support incoming.
I have a good idea of how to do them, but I haven't just gotten around to doing it. However, I need to, because now officially trials are going away, at least temporarily. We've heard this previously about the dark sectors, and we'll talk about that in a moment, because dark sectors actually is coming back. How crazy is that? But anyways, when it comes to trials,
Another life support capsule. Now
trials
available.
are buggy. Trials are having issues, to say lightly, and there are very little people actually performing these trials. Now, I get it, because it seems like people are not willing to or not able to get parties together to complete these trials very easily. And I'm wondering if that could be remedied somehow. Maybe that's something they're going to look into, because there's not a lot of people playing, like I said, there's not a lot of people playing those raids. So they got to find a way to convince people that it's worth it. Arcanes, in my opinion, Arcanes are actually good. They're worth raids, but the problem is there are some highly sought after Arcanes that people just cannot get their hands on, and if they do, they're sold in the market for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of platinum, sometimes thousands for like a full set of, I think, like Arcane Grace, I think is like the most expensive Arcane in the market, which a full set would cost you like a couple thousand platinum, which is just crazy. But
Additional life support.
anyways,
capsule.
they're valuable Arcanes, but people just
Life
don't have the
support has been
patience
replenished.
or whatever to go run for those. And I can get it. I understand if it takes you, you know, 20 to 30 minutes to get a party together to run a raid, and then on top of that, with a good party, well, with an okay party, because there is some borderline like professionals that run raids in like record time. But in order to get, you know, enough people together to run a raid that they know what they're doing, but they, you know, are not necessarily, you know, end game, I guess. I don't know. They're not necessarily the most efficient professionals. It'll take maybe, you know, if you get it in the first go, at least a half an hour to do it. Let alone if you mess it up once or twice or 3 times, depending on, you know, the party you have together.
Prepare for
It could
life
take
support.
over an hour. And some people, you know, that's all they have. That's all they have in a day. So they don't routinely run raids. So I get it. I think they do need to be a little bit more user friendly. But I understand that they're meant to be difficult. They're meant to be something that, you know, not everybody can just do at the drop of a hat. It requires quite a bit of planning. And I actually like that. I like that. Now, however, like I said, I'm not one to necessarily bash it or necessarily claim it's the greatest thing in the world because I haven't done them yet. But my goal is to try and get in there and do them. Part of the reason why is because the rewards, arcanes will still be there, but the aesthetic shoulder attachment or whatever is exclusive to the raids, and I believe that is going away. Once the raid is gone, it is going to be the only people that are going to have that shoulder piece are the people that accomplish the raid, as far as I know. Maybe it'll come back later, but I don't know. I like to collect. I like to be the person that 100%'s a game. So I'm gonna try and get a hold of those for sure. But I also always wanted to do a video of me running a raid. So that's gonna be my goal very, very soon because the raids are going away in 2 weeks. From the day this goes up, there's about 2 weeks left of the trials, or the raids, I guess. People call them raids, but technically their name is the trials, whatever. But I'm curious. Like I said, I don't necessarily know firsthand, you know, all the ins and outs of the raids or the trials when it comes to difficulty, like risk and reward. We'll just put it that way. So I'm curious if you guys have run them. I would like to know your thoughts and opinions on the trials as they stand, and maybe what we could do to make them better. So one thing that I do think is going to happen is I think at least Vayhek's raid is going to end up on Earth. I think specifically, I think it is going to end up being tied into not specifically the open world, but I wouldn't be surprised if the fact that Vayhek has appeared on Earth for the recent events in the Plains of Eidolon, I wouldn't be surprised if there is something that you have to do on the plains, or there's something you have to do on Earth. Maybe you even access the raid by going through the plains with a party, and then you end up maybe in a location to kind of queue up for a raid. I don't know. But I think that somehow the fact that Vayhek has appeared on Earth, especially in the plains, it's going to tie into the raids in the future. And I think that would actually be pretty cool. Every time they introduce a new open world aspect, maybe not right away, but I think it would be pretty cool if that open world has some sort of tasks or challenges that you have to accomplish in that open world in order to unlock the raids for you and maybe the players that are going to go into the raids with you. So, for instance, if Vayhek was going to be exclusive on Earth and his trial was going to be based on the plains, maybe what you would end up doing is you would go through the plains, maybe you would find some extractors of some sort and sabotage the crap out of some stuff on Earth, and then Vayhek would be, pissed off enough that he would challenge you. He would be like, "All right, Tenno, I'm sick and tired of what you're doing. If you wanna, come and fight me, take me on, show up on the plains or show up, in this location." And then you basically queue up for a trial version of Laws of Retribution, but in a new location with new challenges, new tasks. I think that'd be kind of cool. Now, the problem I see with that is now it's seeming like there are a few tasks that need to be accomplished before you can get into the trials. And because the trials are already, there's already so few of people playing the trials, I don't think they're going to want to make it all that difficult to do trials. They might even change trials up altogether so that even newer players can get in and do a trial. However, maybe depending on your level or the tasks you actually accomplish in a trial, will actually give you better rewards. I'm not sure. I would love to hear your guys' opinions on that. But moving beyond that and talking about risk and reward, let's talk about dark sectors. Dark sectors have now officially been announced that they're being worked on, and they also have some actual kind of gameplay for what you can expect from dark sectors. Now, I kind of want to ask you the same question: is
off to a successful start.
What is going to make it worth playing dark sectors for? I'm running out of oxygen, and whoops. What is going to make you play dark sectors? Obviously, you're going to want some decent rewards, but we are seeing kind of a endless type of dark sector gameplay, and we're seeing it being possible to run these dark sectors for a very significant amount of time, with harder and harder enemies as you go. Now, I think that's kind of cool. I kind of like the endless kind of idea, but kind of that whole idea of risk and reward. We're going to need to see some pretty decent stuff if we're going to be running, you know, a half an hour plus of dark sector stuff. So if we're going to run, you know, round and round and round and round of dark sectors, I'm going to want to see a decent reward in the end. Now, I kind of want to. I'm curious if they want to run it the way we currently run Endless, where every wave or so you get a reward, or maybe I personally would like to see those rewards stack. I would like to see after wave 1 you get like 5 points, and after wave 2 you get another 5 points, and then it kind of grows and grows and grows, and then at the end, as long as you have like 50 points plus or 100 points plus, you kind of fall into a tier of like better stuff or something like that. Maybe when it comes to arcanes or something like that, maybe if you run 50 minutes plus, you have a higher rate or a better chance at uncommons. You run 100 points plus, you have a better chance at rares, something like that. I'm also thinking, which a couple people have been talking about in the Parton Discord, is what about like mini bosses? What about every 5 waves, every 10 waves or something like that, you have an assassination target or a mini boss of some sort kind of jump in. This is something that you see in like Diablo and other MMO type games, where you see like a character come in and you fight him, and there's like a risk reward type thing where do you stick around and fight him and get a reward out of it? Shut up, Lotus, I don't need rejuvenation, I already got it. But, and then maybe even in Warframe they could give you the opportunity to, because if you've seen dark sectors, you can kind of stick around, kill some more enemies or whatever, but you kind of have to extract and move on to the next wave in a you know, a fairly short amount of time. I would love to see like a mini boss show up, and maybe the timer pauses and it's like, Tenno, are you willing to risk your lives? Or are you willing to fight this boss and defeat him for an extra reward? Or do you want to skip him and move on? Do you want to bail on fighting him and move on? I would love to see something like that. I would love to see a benefit. I would like to see options. And even though it's going to be endless, I would like to see some choice in there to possibly see some better rewards, better benefits. In that aspect, I would love to know what you guys think about dark sectors. Once again, dark sectors as a whole, raids as a whole, and then at the same time, I would like to know what you think could be done better to make raids better, and what could be done better to make dark sectors better. Now, keep in mind, we got to be reasonable. You can't say, oh, I want to run a raid and get a Riven every time, or I want to run a raid and get a Arcane Grace every time, because come on, guys, it's got to be, you know, there's got to be that risk. Even though there's risk, minimal risk means minimal reward. High risk means high reward, and we need a balance too. We don't want to go and do something for an hour and then end up with like Garbo, you know. Anyways, that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you guys in another one. Blow!